Today we expose the 7 cereal brands America needs to be warned about. Products that have quietly become some of the most toxic foods in the American diet, disguised as wholesome breakfast options. For decades, the American public was sold a lie wrapped in cartoon characters and athlete sponsorships. They told us that a bowl of cereal was part of a complete breakfast, that these colorful boxes filled with sugar-coated shapes were somehow healthier than the eggs and bacon our grandparents ate. They convinced us that the traditional American breakfast was killing us, while quietly steering us toward products that were cheaper to manufacture, easier to market, and more addictive than anything nature ever intended. Fast forward to today. Childhood obesity has tripled. Type 2 diabetes in kids, once unheard of, is now commonplace. And the very foods they demonized, real eggs, real meat, real butter, were never the problem. Instead, they replaced them with laboratory creations, products heavily processed, chemically enhanced, and loaded with more sugar than candy bars, with ingredient lists that read more like chemistry experiments than breakfast food. First one is Lucky Charms, the breakfast that General Mills turned into dessert, then convinced parents it was wholesome, a product marketed directly to children with cartoon leprechauns and magical marshmallows, while knowing full well that each serving contains more sugar than a glazed donut. They've wrapped this cereal in phrases like whole grain first ingredient and fortified with vitamins, all while knowing that the actual formulation is built on a foundation of modified cornstarch, sugar in multiple forms, and artificial dyes that are banned in other countries. Lucky Charms is the perfect example of American food corruption. It looks fun. It tastes sweet. It's advertised during Saturday morning cartoons. But in reality, it's training children's palates to crave artificial sweetness from the moment they wake up, setting them up for a lifetime of sugar addiction disguised as breakfast. And here's what they don't want you to remember. General Mills didn't always make candy for breakfast. Their early cereals, decades back, were actual food. Simple grains, minimal processing, ingredients your grandmother would recognize. Contrast that with today's Lucky Charms ingredient list that includes synthetic food dyes linked to hyperactivity in children, trisodium phosphate, which is also used as a cleaning agent, and enough sugar variations to ensure your child's blood glucose spikes before they even leave for school. The marshmallows alone are a chemistry set of corn syrup, modified cornstarch, dextrose, gelatin, and artificial colors. These aren't food. They're edible plastic designed to dissolve on the tongue while flooding the brain with dopamine. And we wonder why kids can't sit still in classrooms anymore. But here's what makes it worse. General Mills spent $2 billion on advertising. In 2023 alone, $2 billion convincing parents that this sugar bomb is somehow part of a nutritious breakfast. They sponsor youth sports leagues. They put their cereals in school cafeterias. They've made Lucky Charms so normalized that parents don't even question it anymore. Number 2, Froot Loops. The rainbow-colored lie that Kellogg's has been feeding American children since 1963. A cereal that contains no actual fruit despite the name, just artificial flavors designed to mimic what fruit might taste like if it were made in a laboratory. Kellogg's markets this as a fun, colorful start to the day. But take one look at the nutritional panel and it becomes clear why this cereal is a metabolic disaster. 12 grams of sugar per serving. And let's be honest, no child eats just one serving. It's preserved with butylated hydroxytoluene, a petroleum derivative that's restricted in other countries. And those vibrant colors that make the milk turn rainbow? Synthetic food dyes, all derived from petroleum that have been linked to everything from ADHD to allergic reactions. This isn't food made for nourishment. It's food made for shelf stability, visual appeal, and sugar addiction. Kellogg's even had the audacity to add fiber to the formula and market it as a healthy improvement, as if a sprinkle of fiber could somehow offset the sugar bomb they're dropping into children's bloodstreams every morning. The company has spent millions on marketing, sponsoring sports events, plastering Toucan Sam on everything from backpacks to video games, all to normalize the idea that breakfast should be sweet, colorful, and completely divorced from actual nutrition. And it worked. Studies show that 92% of American children can identify Toucan Sam, but less than half can identify a real toucan. We've replaced nature with corporate mascots, real fruit with artificial flavors, and nutrition with marketing. Froot Loops represents everything wrong with American food culture, a product that pretends to be wholesome while being engineered for addiction. It's not breakfast, it's candy soup with milk. And the worst part, parents buy it thinking they're giving their kids fruit. The box says fruit. It must be healthy, right? This is the deception we're dealing with. Number 3, Honey Smacks. Once called Sugar Smacks, until even Kellogg's realized that was too honest. This cereal holds the shameful distinction of being one of the highest sugar cereals still sold in America, with a staggering 55% sugar content by weight. Let that sink in. More than half of what you're eating is pure sugar. That's not breakfast. That's candy pretending to be food. But the sugar content isn't even the worst part. In 2018, Honey Smacks became the center of one of the largest cereal recalls in American history when it was linked to a multi-state salmonella outbreak. Over 130 people across 36 states got sick. 34 were hospitalized. FDA had to issue an unprecedented warning, telling consumers to throw away all Honey Smacks, regardless of expiration date. Think about that. A product marketed to children featuring a smiling cartoon frog was so contaminated that federal authorities told people to throw it in the trash immediately. Not return it, not check the batch number, just throw it away. And this wasn't some small batch artisan cereal. This was Kellogg's, one of the biggest food companies in the world. The contamination was traced back to their manufacturing facility, raising serious questions about quality control and safety standards. Yet within months, Honey Smacks was back on shelves with the same formula. Same sugar content, same smiling frog. As if nothing had happened. As if making kids sick was just a temporary setback in their sugar-pushing operation. And here's something they don't advertise. The glycemic index of Honey Smacks is higher than pure white bread. It spikes blood sugar faster than eating straight table sugar. Pediatricians have been warning about this for years, but Kellogg's keeps producing it, stores keep stocking it, and parents keep buying it because that cartoon frog is friendly, because the word honey sounds natural, because we've been programmed to trust these brands since we were children ourselves. Number 4, Cap'n Crunch. The cereal that Quaker Oats designed to literally attack your mouth. And that's not hyperbole. The angular shape and texture of Cap'n Crunch was specifically engineered to create what the industry calls mouthfeel, but what customers experience as roof-of-mouth destruction. There's even a term for it, Cap'n Crunch mouth, the painful condition of having the roof of your mouth shredded by a breakfast cereal. But oral trauma is the least of this cereal's problems. Each serving contains 12 grams of sugar and almost no fiber, creating a glycemic spike that would make a diabetic specialist weep. The ingredient list includes butylated hydroxytoluene, synthetic food dyes, and artificial flavoring. And despite Quaker's wholesome image, there's nothing wholesome about feeding children petroleum derivatives mixed with corn syrup. What's particularly insidious about Cap'n Crunch is how it's maintained its nostalgic appeal. Adults who grew up with the cartoon captain now feed it to their own children, perpetuating a cycle of normalized breakfast dysfunction. The marketing plays on memories while ignoring the metabolic damage being done to a new generation. And let's talk about that crunch for a moment. The cereal is designed to maintain its texture in milk for an unnaturally long time. Real food doesn't do that. Real food absorbs liquid, breaks down, behaves like actual organic matter. But Cap'n Crunch stays crispy because it's been engineered with oils and preservatives that repel moisture. You're not eating food. You're eating an industrial product designed to mimic food. PepsiCo, which owns Quaker, has tried to modernize the brand with reduced sugar versions and whole grain variants. But these are just lipstick on a pig. The fundamental product remains the same. Processed corn, sugar, artificial colors, and preservatives shaped into painful little squares and sold as a reasonable way to start the day. The captain himself has been sailing on American breakfast tables since 1963. 3 generations of Americans have grown up thinking this is normal breakfast food. 3 generations of increasing obesity, diabetes, and metabolic disorders. Coincidence? The food industry would like you to think so. Number 5. Cocoa Puffs. General Mills took the concept of chocolate for breakfast and somehow made it worse. At least a piece of dark chocolate contains antioxidants and real cocoa. Cocoa Puffs contains sugar, processed corn, and just enough cocoa to legally use the word in the name. The cereal's tagline, "Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs," inadvertently describes the mental state required to think this is appropriate breakfast food for children. Each serving delivers 9 grams of sugar directly into developing bodies that are already struggling with an obesity epidemic. And that's before kids add milk, creating a chocolate sugar soup that bears no resemblance to actual food. The processing required to create these perfectly round puffs strips away any nutritional value the corn might have had. Then they spray it with synthetic vitamins and call it fortified, as if adding laboratory vitamins to candy somehow transforms it into health food. It's the nutritional equivalent of putting a vitamin pill on top of a candy bar and calling it a balanced meal. What's criminal is how this is marketed. Saturday morning commercials showing energetic kids, happy families. The implication that this is how normal, healthy children start their day, when in reality, you're feeding your child a bowl of sugar-coated air puffs that will leave them hungry, cranky, and craving more sugar within an hour. And here's a dirty secret the cereal industry doesn't want you to know. The chocolate milk left at the bottom of the bowl, kids drink it thinking it's a treat, but that chocolatey sludge contains more sugar per ounce than most sodas. You wouldn't let your child drink Coke for breakfast, but that's essentially what's happening when they tip back that bowl of Cocoa Puff milk. General Mills knows this. They've studied it. They've optimized the formula to create maximum chocolate milk appeal. It's not an accident, it's engineered addiction. The bird mascot, Sunny, literally goes crazy for these puffs in every commercial. He loses control, bounces off walls, can't contain himself. And we laugh. We think it's funny. But what message does that send to children? That it's normal to lose control over food? That certain foods are so good they're worth going crazy for? This is psychological programming disguised as entertainment. Number 6. Trix. Another General Mills masterpiece of deception. The cereal that literally changed its shapes and colors based on market research about what would be most appealing to children. Not most nutritious, not most wholesome, most appealing. Because that's what this is really about. Engineering addiction in the youngest consumers possible. For years, Trix contained artificial dyes so controversial that General Mills briefly removed them in 2015, switching to natural colors from fruits and vegetables. But sales dropped. The natural version wasn't bright enough, wasn't artificial enough, didn't trigger the same dopamine response. So in 2018, they brought back the artificial colors. Think about what that means. General Mills had created a healthier version. They had removed the petroleum-based dyes. They had done the right thing. But when sales dipped, they reversed course. They chose money over children's health. They literally said, "We know these artificial dyes are problematic. We know parents are concerned, but profits matter more." The rabbit mascot spends every commercial desperately trying to eat Trix, while kids tell him Trix are for kids. Think about the message there. This is food so desirable that even cartoon animals will do anything to eat it, but it's exclusively for children. They're literally programming kids to associate this sugar bomb with identity and exclusivity. 13 grams of sugar per serving. Corn syrup and sugar as the second and third ingredients. Butylated hydroxytoluene as a preservative. This isn't breakfast, it's a predatory product designed to create lifelong customers by hooking them before their taste buds fully develop. By the time these kids are adults, their palates are so damaged that real food tastes bland by comparison. And let's be clear about something. These artificial colors aren't just concerning, they're completely unnecessary. Other countries have banned them. European versions of the same cereals use natural coloring. But in America, where regulations favor corporations over consumers, our children get the petroleum rainbow. Because it's cheaper, because it's brighter, because it sells better. Number 7. Reese's Puffs. The ultimate confession that American breakfast cereal has completely abandoned any pretense of being food. General Mills took a candy bar, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and turned it into cereal. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. The commercials literally show candy transforming into cereal, as if that's something to celebrate rather than a dystopian nightmare. 11 grams of sugar per serving, multiple forms of processed corn, artificial flavors designed to mimic candy, and parents buy this thinking, well, at least it has peanut butter. That's protein, right? Wrong. The peanut butter in Reese's Puffs is so processed, so mixed with sugar and oil, that any nutritional benefit has been completely destroyed. This cereal represents the complete capitulation of American food standards. When you can take candy, reshape it into circles, spray it with synthetic vitamins, and sell it as breakfast, you've crossed a line that shouldn't exist. You've normalized the idea that children should start their day with dessert. The long-term effects are already visible. Kids who grew up on Reese's Puffs and similar cereals are now adults with metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver disease. Conditions that used to be rare in people under 50 are now common in people under 30. And it started with breakfast. It started with these boxes of sugar dressed up as nutrition. The marketing for Reese's Puffs doesn't even pretend it's healthy anymore. The slogan is literally, Reese's for breakfast. They've given up the facade. They're openly admitting this is candy for breakfast, and somehow parents are still buying it. We've become so desensitized to sugar, so accepting of processed food, that feeding children candy for breakfast has become normalized. And here's the uncomfortable truth. As these corporations become more desperate for growth, more driven by quarterly earnings, this situation isn't improving. If anything, it's accelerating. New cereals now come with cookies mixed in, with donut flavoring, with birthday cake pieces. Each iteration more absurd than the last, pushing the boundaries of what parents will accept and what children's bodies can handle. The cereal aisle has become a candy store, and the companies know it. Internal documents from these corporations, revealed through lawsuits and investigations, show they specifically target children under 8 years old. Why? Because that's when taste preferences are formed. Get them hooked young, and you've got a customer for life. It's the same playbook tobacco companies used, just with sugar instead of nicotine. The defense from these companies is always the same. Everything in moderation, personal responsibility, balanced diet. But they spend billions ensuring their products are anything but moderate. They design them for overconsumption. They market them to children who have no concept of moderation. They know exactly what they're doing. They hire food scientists whose only job is to find the bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat that triggers maximum craving. They use brain scans to study how children respond to their products. They employ child psychologists to make their marketing more effective. This isn't food production, it's manipulation on an industrial scale. So what do we do about it? Start by understanding that these aren't breakfast foods. They're candy. Treat them accordingly. If you wouldn't give your child a Snickers bar for breakfast, don't give them a bowl of Reese's Puffs. The packaging might be different, but the metabolic impact is the same, if not worse. Consider what actual breakfast looks like. Eggs, real ones, not processed substitutes. Whole grain oats, cooked simply, not processed into sugar rings. Fresh fruit, not fruit flavoring. Real food that humans have been eating for thousands of years, not laboratory creations that have existed for less than a century. Look at other cultures. Japanese children eat rice, fish, and vegetables for breakfast. European children eat whole grain bread with cheese. Mexican children eat beans and tortillas. None of them are starting their day with bowls of sugar. Only in America have we normalized dessert for breakfast, and we're paying the price with our health. And if you must buy cereal, read the ingredients. If sugar is in the first 3 ingredients, put it back. If you see colors followed by numbers, put it back. If you can't pronounce half the ingredients, put it back. Your children's health is worth more than convenience. Better yet, make breakfast together. Teach your children what real food looks like, tastes like, feels like. Show them that breakfast doesn't come from a box, that food doesn't need cartoon characters to be appealing, that their bodies deserve better than industrial sugar delivery systems. The American public deserves better than this. We deserve food that nourishes rather than addicts. We deserve honesty rather than cartoon marketing. We deserve breakfast that doesn't require a chemistry degree to understand. Instead, we've been sold a lie. They kept the word cereal, but changed the product into something unrecognizable. What we're buying today isn't the wholesome grains of our grandparents' era. It's processed corn and sugar, shaped into fun forms, colored with petroleum, preserved with chemicals, and fortified with synthetic vitamins to create the illusion of nutrition. This is what they're feeding our children. This is what they're calling breakfast. And until we stop accepting it, until we demand real food instead of food-like products, nothing will change. The cereals will get sweeter, the colors brighter, the marketing more aggressive, and another generation will grow up thinking that breakfast is supposed to taste like candy, because that's exactly what they want. Customers trained from childhood to crave artificial sweetness, to prefer processed over natural, to choose convenience over health. It's not just about selling cereal. It's about creating lifelong consumers who will pass these preferences to their children, perpetuating a cycle of profitable malnutrition. The revolution starts at the breakfast table. It starts with saying no to these 7 brands and others like them. It starts with choosing real food over marketed fiction, because every bowl of sugar we refuse to serve is a small victory against an industry that has forgotten that food is supposed to nourish, not just profit. The next time you're in the cereal aisle, really look at what's being sold. Notice how the healthiest options are on the bottom shelf, while the sugar bombs are at eye level. Notice how the characters on the boxes make eye contact with children. Notice how the prices of these processed products often exceed the cost of real, whole foods. None of this is accidental. We have the power to change this. Every purchase is a vote. Every breakfast is a choice. Every child we raise with healthy eating habits is a future adult who won't fall for these tricks. The cereal companies may have billions in marketing budgets, but we have something more powerful: the ability to say no. Until then, stay informed, read labels, and protect your family's health. Because if you don't, these companies certainly won't. They'll keep pushing the boundaries, keep targeting younger children, keep adding more sugar, more artificial ingredients, more addictive formulas, because that's what the shareholders demand. Growth at any cost, even if that cost is our children's health. Remember this: real food doesn't need a mascot. Real food doesn't turn milk rainbow colors. Real food doesn't stay crunchy in liquid for 20 minutes. Real food nourishes, satisfies, and fuels our bodies. Everything else is just processed entertainment pretending to be breakfast. And our children deserve better than entertainment in a bowl.